From the wastelands of the internet, I come once again to bring you all news of the week, and a little bit before that because, was not available last week. All right, some things popped up. Real life intruded, so I do apologize for that. I should have been there a little bit sooner. Let me get rid of some of this noise that's roaming around here for right now, so that we can discuss the news. And good morning, Mr. Barkley. It's nice to see everybody. When I saw Jensen come in a little bit earlier, right, just a wave before he goes off to his little realm. And realm is the word for it, folks. Okay, there's been a lot happening, and let's get to it. Taiwan on alert over waves of missile tests in North China. Taiwan's defense ministry said on Saturday it was monitoring waves of missile tests taking place in China's far northern region of Inner Mongolia and that its air defenses were on alert. Democratically governed Taiwan, which China views as its own territory, keeps a close watch on all Chinese military activities given Beijing's regular activities around the island, but only rarely releases details of what it sees taking place inside of China. The ministry said that from 4 a.m., it had detected multiple waves of test launches by Chinese rocket force in Inner Mongolia, which lies some 2,000 kilometers away from Taiwan. Taiwan's forces are continuously monitoring developments, and the air defense forces are on alert, the ministry said without giving details. Okay. China is, becoming far, far more aggressive in the region, all right, militarily. And the arrogance of the Chinese, okay, given what's been happening and so forth, is it's increasing the belligerence. Okay, the view of China and how China views the world, and it is still running around with a chip on its shoulder as an inferiority complex, very similar, by the way, to the chip that the Japanese had prior to World War II on their shoulder, saying, hey, what about us? We're a power player. Now, the rest of the world has already acknowledged China as a power player. So why is China still roaming around trying to do things? Because to them, it isn't about being noticed, it's about domination. And they intend to dominate as they see the United States dominating. They want to be as dominant, if not more, and the word is more, to be honest, than the United States is. And the problem that they have is they believe that the U.S.'s dominance is militarily. Okay? They believe that the United States exists as a military nation because they see its military backs up its other statements, and it does, because that's the way of the world. You can be an economic powerhouse and ignored by the rest of the world if you don't have a military to back up or support, / defend your economy. More than anything else, this is the reason we got involved in World War II. I don't think people even understand that. More than anything else, the U.S. military got involved in World War II. We got involved in World War II because we were using the military to defend our mercantile interests. And quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry about that. I'm trying to cut down a little bit of the noise. All right. I forgot what I did last week. Seems fine. they 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 waited until Biden had a cold devious bastard. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. The thing is, and I want people to understand this when I talk about the U.S. military. Why did Japan attack the United States? Japan attacked the United States because economically we wielded power against them. Economically, we embargoed oil. Militarily, the generals in charge thought that they could take on the United States militarily because the United States was militarily weak. That's why they attacked us. They thought they could defeat us militarily, right, and enforce their will. But the conflict that was created with Japan was because of our interests in the mercantile range, in the economic range. Nobody fears China economically. Oh, they're the second, they're the biggest economy out there. They're big. No, they're not. And everybody knows it. They could be. They could be far more. They could be far more than what they are. Let me put it that way. They're not going to be because they're hampered with the mentality of communism. Communism prevents individuality to the point of tampering down, all right, growth in the economy. It always has. It always will. When you try to control the economy through the government, you end up stifling the economy. Militarily, they are growing. How did the United States win the Cold War? I think people have forgotten this. We didn't win the Cold War because of our military strength alone. In fact, it was the economy's support of the military that prevented the Soviet Union, okay, from winning the Cold War. Because economically, and allowing that freedom of economics allowed for the development of technologies in a wider field, right? In a widespread field. It wasn't just physics. Some of the greatest physicists on the planet still reside in Russia. And it's the physicists that came up with the atomic weapon, all right? The theories that the atomic weapon utilizes. But building atomic weapons and building them effectively is a little bit different. And as technology moves broader and broader on a broader scale, the ability to keep up with that, the Soviet Union couldn't. Everyone laughed at Reagan's Star Wars, but Reagan's Star Wars is what brought the Soviet Union to its friggin' knees. Because we had a technological capability and they knew it. All right. Now, was it fully developed? No, it wasn't fully developed, but it was developed enough in the way the Soviets looked at it, right, that we could. Now, was it going to be a perfect missile shield that everyone wanted? No, it wasn't going to be that because we couldn't do that. But we could knock down a ton of their missiles, and that combined with the lack of reliability of their missile forces, the Soviets knew they couldn't compete. This is why Russia collapsed. Why? Because the technology necessary to develop Star Wars, while it was very possible in the West, was not possible in the East. They were still doing things. People don't know this, for example. The the radar systems on some of their most advanced planes were still running on tubes. Now, there's advantages to tube technology versus transistor technology, but they were still running on tubes. You got to understand that. When you need technology of like transistors and micronization in those kind of fields, they couldn't compete. And that's where they're at with China. Now, China has, in a lot of ways, agreements with Taiwan, so they tend to make up that deficit that the Soviet Union had. Okay, with the ability to steal and basically, have technology delivered to them via Taiwan. That's a reality, but they're still always lagging. They're not innovating. They'll have some innovations in the future in certain technological fields. That's a given. But on a broad scale, no. Let's go on to the next story. As a result of this, Japan and Germany agreed to boost security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz agreed Friday to boost security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region, where China has been ramping up its military presence. During their talks in Berlin, Kishida and Scholz also confirmed that their countries will create an economic security framework amid what they view as Chinese overproduction of electric vehicles and other key products using massive subsidies. It is important that allies and like minded countries take a united response to challenges in economic security, Kishida told a joint press conference with his Chinese counterpart Scholz. All right. Scholz also called for working together to reduce supply dependence on certain countries and regions. It sounds good, but Germany is an unreliable partner and an unreliable ally. That's reality. You're seeing it play out in the Ukraine. This is pablum. The problem with comments like this is it's pablum. Chinese authorities know it, okay, and are just going to laugh it off. Sorry. It's nice that they're trying to do something, but the reality is that the Germans are an unreliable ally. An Israeli attack targeting the Hamas military commander kills at least 71 in southern Gaza. Israel said it targeted Hamas's shadowy military commander in a massive strike Saturday in a crowded southern Gaza Strip, all right, that killed at least 71 people, according to local health officials. Hamas immediately rejected the claim that Mohammed Deif was in the area. Israeli officials confirmed that Deif and a second Hamas commander, Rafa Salama, were the targets. It was not immediately known if Deif was among the dead. A military official later said they were still checking and verifying the results of the strike, and it did not deny that it took place in an area the Israeli military has designated as safe for hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. There is no safe thing when all these fools do is they let these freaking Hamas sons of bitch and murdering thugs sit up there and go, oh, well, we're going to hide behind you. You don't mind that. And they go, no, we want you to come and do this. You're going to bitch and cry about, they were in the safe zone. Oh, these 71 people. Well, what the hell were these two freaking people doing there? What the hell's Hamas doing in these areas? They're not supposed to be in these areas. I thought Hamas were the big brave fight, but they're not. They're a bunch of fucking cowards. All of them. They'll sacrifice as many Palestinians as they possibly can. And until the Palestinians get that through their heads that they are nothing but fodder to these people, this is going to continue. And if you want to know who this son of a bitch is, read this. Dief and Hamas's top official in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, are believed by Israel to be the chief architects of the October 7th attack that killed some 1,200 people in southern Israel and triggered the Israeli-Hamas war. Not seen in public for years, Dief, has long topped Israel's most wanted list and is believed to have escaped multiple Israeli assassination attempts. On October 7th, Hamas issued a rare voice recording of Dief announcing the Al-Aqsa flood operation. In other words, this guy is a real bad guy, and the Palestinians around him all know it, and they all support it. You want to be a human shield for him? Then be a human shield, but it's not going to stop the Israelis, and that should be the consequence. Oh, it's genocide. Don't you understand, no man? Oh. It's not genocide. But it's going to come to the point where they're going to have to come in and get serious. You're dealing with a 12th century cultural mentality, folks. These people do not have a problem being martyred. Just putting it out there. Switch gears a little bit. Argentina once led on LGBTQ rights. After 4 lesbians are set on fire, critics blame rising intolerance on the Milei government. It was an attack that sent shockwaves through a country long considered a pioneer in LGBTQ rights. In the early hours of May 6th, 4 lesbian women were set on fire in Argentina. Only one of them survived. It happened at a boarding house in the Barracas neighborhood of Buenos Aires, where Pamela Faudina Cobas, Mercedes Roxana Figueroa, Andrea Armaiente, and then Sofia Castro Riglo, were sharing a room. Witnesses say a man broke in through an incendiary device that set the women on fire. Pamela died soon after. Her partner Roxana died a few days later of organ failure. Andrea died on May 12th in the hospital. Andrea's partner Sofia was the lone survivor. She spent weeks of recovering in a hospital and is alive today only because Andrea threw herself on top of her to shield her from the flames. Sofia's attorney Gabriela told CNN. Her partner saved her, Condor said. The local LGBTQ rights advocates condemned the attack as a hate crime and lesbiacide, saying that the women were all targeted because of their sexual identity. Police have arrested a 62-year-old man who lived in the building, but according to Condor, aren't currently treating the incident as a hate crime, as they say the motive is still unclear. Okay, I don't know if this was a hate crime. I don't think there is such a thing as a hate crime because I think all crimes are done from hatred or desperation. Okay, that's the reality. Crimes are either done from hatred or from desperation. That's the way it is. Okay, it's either malice or it isn't. But if you're going to try and play the game, well, was this malice? The guy threw a freaking firebomb into the place. He intended to kill these people. Now, Why he intended to kill him? To be honest, it doesn't matter. This is the problem. Just like the bullshit, all right, with Matthew Shepard. Oh, he was targeted because he was gay. They killed him because he was gay. No, they didn't kill him because he was gay. They were able to kill him because he was gay. They killed him because he was a drug dealer on somebody else's turf. And that drug lord wanted him removed because he was competition on his what he saw as his turf. They lured him out because he was gay, and it gave them an opening to say, "Hey, we're going to have sex with you," and he came along willingly with them, and then they killed him. But they didn't kill him because he was gay. In a surprise to no one, Iran paid anti-Israeli protesters in America, the U.S. government says. No shit, really? I wonder if that's part of the money that was sent back to Iran, all right, that the Biden administration and the Obama administration, all right, handed over in the billions, just so that we can have anti-Israeli protesters and little mindless little thugs in Harvard on Harvard Yard come back and whine about genocide. So the Biden administration paid for this. The director of national television, Avril Haines, said that the U.S. intelligence community had observed actors tied to Iran's government posing as activists online, seeking to encourage protests and even providing financial support to the protesters. And when he was giving this speech, did anyone say, "Well, was part of that money what you sent to Iran? You freaking fools! You stupid son of a bitch! Weren't you the guy who stood up and said it's okay to give this money to these guys? Weren't you on board with funding this money? If you find a problem with this now, then why did you give them this money to do this to us? You think it's fucking funny? Pardon my language. Trying to avoid that. I've been getting a lot more coarse lately in my language, and I apologize, folks. I've been trying to tamp that down, to be honest, and I've been failing miserably. Let's talk about good old Sleepy Joe. Sleepy, creepy Joe. Donors tell pro Biden super PAC roughly $90 million in pledges is frozen. Some major Democratic donors have told the largest pro Biden super PAC, Future Forward, that roughly 90 million in pledged donations is now on hold if President Biden remains atop the ticket, according to two people who have been briefed on the conversation. The frozen contributions include multiple eight-figure commitments, according to the two people who spoke on the condition of anonymity, given the sensitivity of the situation. In other words, you want to hide who these sons of bitches are. What a surprise. Wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that they're all government employees in the intelligence community, would it? Or the Justice Department? Just out of curiosity. All right. The decision to withhold such enormous sums of money is one of the most concrete examples of the fallout of Mr. Biden's poor debate performance in the end of June. Future Forward declined to comment on any conversations with donors or the amounts of any pledged money being withheld. Future Forward advisor would only say that the group expected contributors who paused donations to return once the current uncertainty about the ticket is resolved. He had jet lag. He's had jet lag since at least like 2019. Biden, Biden, excuse me, is completely lost. Okay, but the anybody who believes, if you are a Republican, if you're a GOP member, and if you believe this story, you're an idiot. Right? And I'm serious. This is a claim. This is a claim by a group of people from the press. The press, let's be perfectly frank, have now gone in and said we are part of the radical left wing of the Democrat Party. We are part of the AOC. We are part of the Obama wing of the party. And therefore, we're going to put out stories that support the Obama wing of the party. And this is one of them. But if you're a GOP member and you think that these fools are actually going to try and stop funding these leftist lunatics, you're out of your freaking rabbit ass mind. Now, the DNC is scared. Don't get me wrong. The GOP stalwarts, or the DNC stalwarts, rather, are scared. Okay, they are terrified of losing it, and that Trump is going to take over again. They are terrified of that, and they want some other possibility, someone moving forward. Okay, but they keep doing polls where they're all saying that Joe Biden's going to win. NPR just did a poll. They said that Joe Biden is 2 points ahead of Trump with registered voters. Well, if that's the case, then what are you worried about? So I don't think that this is the issue. The issue now is there's an understanding that Biden has crushed a big piece, a big free piece of the DNC, and that's the mainstream media. The mainstream media, and I include Fox News in this story, folks, because Fox News was also a part of this bullshit. They were hiding just how bad Biden has been mentally, and it isn't new. Oh, it's gotten so bad that it's worse. But frankly, the debate that they had was something that caused everyone to stir. But Joe Biden was like that even when he was debating Trump the first time. The difference is because of how the format was. Biden's gaffes were more easily covered up. When Trump just shut his mouth and let Biden talk, it became quite obvious that Biden is not lucid. That was the difference in this debate. To say that Joe Biden is, he's getting worse, he's getting worse. No, he's not. He's always been this way. He's been this way for a long time. Maybe he has gotten a bit worse. I will admit that. All right, but to be honest, all these things were there before, and they didn't care. And they didn't care who was controlling Joe Biden because as long as they were Marxist leftists, it was okay. And what's happening right now is there is a fight going on between the heirs, for lack of a better term, of the Clinton wing of the party and the Biden wing of the party. The Obama wing of the party is quite a bit more leftist. It's represented by AOC. That's the Obama wing of the party. Pelosi is the Clinton wing of the party. And they had a meeting. And in the meeting, they both agreed immediately that Joe's got to go. Then came who's going to replace him? And in the jockeying of position of who was going to replace him, all right, they couldn't come to a consensus. And why? Because both wings are playing power politics with each other. They want to be the ones that when all this fleshes out, when all this fallout takes place, all right, they're going to be the ones in charge of the party. And that the other ones will become subordinate to them. The problem with the Clinton wing or the Pelosi wing of the party is they don't have any power now. With the exception of they're the ones who have convinced a lot of these asshole donors, these big donors, Okay, that they'll protect them from the leftist wing of the party. And it's becoming quite obvious now, all right, to several of these bigger donors that they're not going to be protected anymore. On an update story, Alec Baldwin weeps in court as judge announces involuntary manslaughter case is dismissed mid-trial. Santa Fe, New Mexico. A New Mexico judge on Friday brought a sudden and stunning end to the involuntary manslaughter case against Alex Baldwin, dismissing it in the middle of the actor's trial, saying it cannot be filed again. Judge Mary Marlowe Sommer, all right, dismissed the case based on misconduct of the police and the prosecutors over the withholding of evidence from the defense in 2021 shooting of cinematographer Halen Hutchins on the set of the film Rust. Baldwin cried, hugged his two attorneys, gestured to the front of the court, then turned to hug his crying wife, Hilaria, the mother of 7 of his 8 children, holding the embrace for 12 seconds. It's amazing what people will do when they got a stopwatch on their hands. All right, he climbed into an SUV outside the Santa Fe County Courthouse without speaking to the media. The late discovery of this evidence during the trial has impeded the effective use of evidence in such a way that it has impacted the fundamental fairness of the proceedings, Marlowe Sommer said. If this conduct does not rise to the level of bad faith, it certainly comes so near to bad faith it shows signs of scorching. The case ending evidence revealed during the testimony Thursday was ammunition that was brought into the sheriff's office in March by a man who said it could be related to the Hutchins killing. Prosecutors said they deemed the ammo unrelated and unimportant, while Baldwin's lawyers alleged they buried it and filed a motion to dismiss the case. Okay. Now, let's let's put all that aside for the moment and let's step back. A woman died on the set of a movie, okay, that was being produced. The person who pulled the trigger was Alec Baldwin, an actor who pulled a trigger that was aimed at a camera, intentionally aimed at the camera because they were trying to get a shot, basically, from that thing, according to what the director wanted. Okay, the camera person behind doing the filming was shot. Okay. Now, questions remain. How does a movie prop become loaded with live ammo? That question remains. How does a movie prop get loaded with live ammo? To me, this just shows how sloppy, at the very least, it shows how sloppy this was. All right, that this how sloppy the set was. If this weapon went off, okay, and it has, they had the casing of the shell. They don't have a fingerprint on that shell. Because if they don't have that a casing, a fingerprint on that casing, this rises now immediately to suspicion. All right. Now, it may have been a partial print that wasn't useful, and I would accept that. Okay, if it was a partial print, I still would have stood up there and taken everybody's fingerprints to see who it most closely matched up with, right? Because that live ammo is what did the killing. And the question then becomes it becomes a priority to find out. Okay, let's find out how did this damn thing get loaded. I often wonder when you go into these cases, what the hell are people thinking? And see, we're not. And what I mean by what the hell are people thinking, I'm not talking about the police in this case, because I don't know if the police did that or what the police did or anything else. I really don't know what it was. Okay, I do have problems, however, with this obvious case because the question becomes, okay, what the hell happened here? Now, when the gun goes off and the person gets hurt, it's very possible that other people opened the gun and started pulling out bullets to see whether or not they were live and like, what the hell happened here? And, contaminating the evidence, basically. All of that could have taken place, and that's not unreasonable. Okay, so, but I don't even know any of that. And what pisses me off is where's those questions? Where are those questions? You've got a media here that has never asked relevant questions from these people. Why? And then you also have a judge here who was looking for an excuse, and that's the reality. The judge here was looking for an excuse to throw out this case. Because I guarantee you, this stupid Bimbet here, Mary, all right, what was her name again? I'm sorry. The judge, I'll find her name in a second. Judge Mary Marlowe Sommer. I'll bet money that if it was a freaking Trump case where they would hide, they've been proven to have hidden evidence all over the place. All right, that they would have if it in the Trump case, this person would be screaming, improper justice was being done. Time after time, they've already been caught. Time after time, the prosecution has already been caught in the Trump cases. All of them hiding evidence, not refusing to turn over evidence. Fannie Willis's group has refused to turn over all sorts of evidence. And in this case, the evidence was some guy walked up and said, hey, this ammo might be related, all right? And they looked at it and said, no, it's not. And that's all they did. And they didn't tell the defense, hey, wait a minute, we had this guy who came in. He said that this was evidence. We looked at it and it wasn't. All right. That's all it took for them to go, oh my God, you tainted the whole thing in this judge's mind. The judge isn't serious. The judge was looking for an excuse to throw this case out. And I'm not saying that she did the wrong thing. Do not misunderstand me. I don't think her reasoning was sound, however. That's my problem. The reasoning behind it wasn't sound. Marshall Garden Supreme Court Justice's house shoots 18-year-old who tried to carjack him. A deputy U.S. Marshal allegedly shot an 18-year-old who tried to carjack him while he was on guard outside a Supreme Court Justice's home in Washington, D.C., according to officials. The shooting unfolded outside the apartment where Justice Sonia Sotomayor lives, according to police records. The two deputy marshals were parked in separate cars when, at about 1:15 a.m. on Friday, a suspect approached one of the marshals, pointed a handgun at him in an apparent carjacking attempt, according to DC's Metropolitan Police Department. Funny how These are the same people who tell you, don't defend yourself. If a criminal wants your car, just let them take it. Don't you understand? Just let them take it. But this guy didn't do that. Both marshals fired your service weapons, police said. The suspect, 18-year-old Kentrell Flowers, was shot and suffered non-life-threatening injuries, police said. The deputy U.S. Marshals involved in the shooting incident were part of a unit protecting the residence of U.S. Supreme Court justices, a U.S. Marshals spokesman said. As a general practice, the U.S. Marshals don't discuss specifics of protective details. The carjacking attempt appears to be random. Flowers was arrested, charged with armed carjacking, carrying a pistol without a license, and possession of a large capacity ammunition feeding device, according to police. The officer involved shooting incident remains under investigation by the Metropolitan Police Department Internal Affairs Division's Force Investigations Team. Which investigates all law enforcement officers involved shootings in the District of Columbia, the police said. Last year, Secret Service agents protecting President Biden's granddaughter, Naomi Biden, were also victims of an attempted carjacking outside of a D.C. home. But crime is fine! There's no extra crime! Violent crime is down 30% in D.C. this year! According to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Homicides have decreased by 27%, and motor vehicle theft has dropped by 33%. Really? Things that have never happened before, carjackings, right, of major U.S. officials and such. Things that hadn't been happening before are now happening on a regular basis. But crime's down. Yeah, better. Crime is down. Lady lands in cuffs over a cuddle kerfuffle. Florida woman, not a surprise. Florida woman yesterday was arrested for domestic battery after attacking her boyfriend because he declined to cuddle with her, police allege. Investigators said the cuddle kerfuffle began Saturday evening when Jillian Ugun, 22, argued with her beau regarding the victim's disinterest in the defendant engaging in physical intimacy. The dispute reignited Sunday morning in the couple's Seminole residence after Ugan continually tried to cuddle with the victim. When the man rebuffed the cuddling, Ugan escalated the dispute into a physical confrontation. She allegedly grabbed the victim's chest hair, scratched his face, bit him on the forehead, and broke his phone, and then screamed, "Foreplay!" After being read her rights, Ugan repeatedly admitted, that she continued to touch the victim multiple times after being repeatedly told to stop. Ugan characterized the touching as cuddling. I don't make these stories up, folks. I really don't. These are real stories. In a more serious note, AT&T says a hacker stole some data from nearly all wireless customers. So all of AT&T's wireless customers have had their data stolen. AT&T has announced that the company believes a hacker stole the records of calls and texts from nearly all of AT&T's wireless customers, according to a financial filing from the company. The data does not contain the content of the calls or texts. Personal information such as social security numbers, date of birth, or other personally identifiable information. All right, these records identify the telephone with which an AT&T or MVNO wireless number interacted during these periods, including the telephone numbers of AT&T wireless customers and customers of other carriers, counts of those interactions, and an aggregate, there's what I was trying to say, aggregate, all right, call duration for a day or a month. Additional cybersecurity measures in response have been taken, according to AT&T. AT&T confirmed it will provide notice to its current and former impacted customers. Okay, it's just some data. Oh no, you have a cold too. No, I just have a bad time reading certain words sometimes. Um, aggregate. Okay, just to show you, I can say it when I take the time to say, okay, let's settle down. Try not to speak at too fast a rate of speed. This is a hack by either a government agency. I'm serious about this. This is a government hack, or it's a hack by someone like, the anonymous group. They need to find out who did this and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. This is the kind of WikiLeaks anonymous shit that pisses me off. These people are not, we're just doing a public service. They're leftist, Marxist, foreign intelligence services looking to harm the United States. And they need to be prosecuted. Jet lag. Suspect busted for 1 cent bank robbery. July 3rd. After a man handed a bank teller note demanding cash, police swooped down on a Chase Bank branch in Florida, all right, and arrested an unarmed suspect for robbery. The amount he allegedly sought, 1 cent. The unorthodox robbery bid, police say, occurred Saturday afternoon in Lady Lake, a town 50 miles north of Orlando. According to an arrest report, Michael Patrick Fleming, 41, walked into a bank, filled out a withdrawal slip, handed it to the teller. The defendant was told that he could not be given the 1 cent, police said. All right, after being denied a penny, Fleming, who does not have a Chase account, reportedly told the teller, "If you want me to say the other word," the teller was in fear of a possible violence and imminent, that violence was imminent, and notified law enforcement, cops say. When police responded to the 911 call, Fleming was still inside the bank. He was taken into custody and transported to the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, where he agreed to be interviewed by investigators. Fleming said he initially went to the Citizens First Bank, which was closed, before driving to the nearby Chase branch. After confirming the bank employee's account of the episode, he said, "Most of the time, the way the tellers are trained, if someone comes to rob you, you give them the money and let them go." Fleming claimed that he was expecting the teller to give him the 1 penny, adding that he would then sit in a chair and wait for law enforcement. Pictured above, Fleming advised his goal was to be arrested. The plan worked to perfection. He is locked up in lieu of a $5,000 bond. It's unclear why Fleming, who does not appear to have a criminal record, wanted to be busted. Until recently, Fleming rented a mobile home in Summerfield, a Central Florida community 10 miles away from the Chase Bank. He was evicted from the residence in May for failure to pay his $900 a month rent. Okay, sounds like the guy was destitute and said, "You know what? I'd be better off in prison. At least I know where I'm at. That's what it looks like. It looked like he looked like a Manson and John. More Florida news. First local extinction in the United States due to sea level rise. A press release. Research led by Jennifer Crossley, Fairchild Tropical Botanical Garden. Gainesville, Florida. The United States has lost its only stand of the massive Key Largo tree cactus in what researchers believe is the first local extinction of a species caused by sea level rise in the country. The Key Largo tree cactus still grows on a few scattered islands in the Caribbean, including northern Cuba and parts of the Bahamas. In the United States, it was restricted to a single population in the Florida Keys, first discovered in 1992. 1992, huh? This tree cactus that has been around supposedly for how long? Where it's in from Cuba and all these other places. Saltwater intrusion from rising seas, soil depletion from hurricanes and high tides, and herbivory mammals had put significant pressure on the population. By 2021, what had been a thriving stand of about 150 stems was reduced to 6 ailing fragments, which researchers salvaged for off-site cultivation to ensure their survival. Unfortunately, the Key Largo tree cactus may be a bellwether for how other low-lying coastal plants will respond to climate change. No. You climate alarmists. First of all, you're claiming that this was a thriving stand of 150 stems, all right, when it was first discovered. In 1992, my mind had. To say that it was rising sea levels when all of a sudden it's like, well, rising sea levels and predatory mammals and hurricanes because some hurricanes hit it. go, go away. Just, just go away. Five people escape hot acidic pond after an SUV drove into an inactive geyser in the Yellowstone National Park. Five people were able to escape a hot acidic pond in the Yellowstone National Park after the sport utility vehicle they were driving went off the road and into an inactive geyser, park officials said on Friday. The passengers were able to get out of the 105-degree Fahrenheit water on their own after the crash Thursday morning were taken to a hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries, a park spokesman Morgan Worthen said in a statement. The road was closed for about 2 hours Friday while the SUV was extracted from 9 feet of water. The semi-sentinel geyser has been inactive during since a major eruption in 1922. It is located near Roaring Mountain between Mammoth Hot Springs and Norris Junction. Park officials did not release the names of those involved and said that the incident is still being investigated. It sounds like some idiots lost control of the car and went into the ditch. Now, the first question as you look at this that I have, and I'm serious about this, where's the guardrails here? Just asking. Where are the guardrails? Why were there no guardrails there to prevent that in this area? Not saying that it's the fault of these people. We don't know what happened. Maybe a blown tire. Maybe, I mean, lots of things could have happened. She may have been trying to dodge a deer. Who knows? Or he may have been trying to dodge a deer. I don't even know who was driving. Getting stuck in the mountains is pretty much a new thing. Hey, James. Driver gets stuck on Utah mountain thanks to Google shortcut, officials say. A 23-year-old man was stranded in his Toyota Tercel for 3 hours on the west side of Strawberry Peak, Wasatch County Search and Rescue said. A driver in Utah got stuck on a dirt road on a Utah mountain after Google led him there on a shortcut, authorities said. The driver, who was identified only as a 23-year-old man, and his Toyota Tercel became stuck Thursday on the west side of Strawberry Peak. All right, the Wasatch County Search and Rescue said in a statement on Saturday. This was the shortcut that Google recommended between Springville and Vernal, the officials said. The driver was uninjured, but search and rescue responded and helped him off the mountain. The rescue took 3 hours, officials said. Wasatch County is about 100 miles southeast of Salt Lake City. At some point, do you think just maybe when you're on this kind of a road, you start to figure out that, hey, maybe this isn't a shortcut. He was chasing a white rabbit. Oh my God. Just to take a shortcut over the mountain, over the river, and through the woods, to grandmother's house he went. No. More news. The gods must be angry. Mexico cancels statue of Greek god Poseidon after a dispute with a local deity. I don't write these stories, folks. The gods must be angry or just laughing at the hubris of humanity. Authorities in Mexico have slapped a closure order on a 10-foot tall aquatic statue of the Greek god of the sea Poseidon that was erected in May in the Gulf of Mexico just off the town of Progreso in the Yucatan. Mexico's Environmental Protection Agency said Thursday that the statue, which appears to show an angry trident wielding Poseidon rising from the sea a few meters from the beach, lacked permits. In the few moments it had been up, tourists had gathered to take pictures of themselves with it as a striking background, but it was symbolically closed Thursday and could be removed altogether after a group of activist lawyers, what a surprise, filed a legal complaint saying that the statue of the Greek offended the beliefs of the local Mayan indigenous groups who prefer their own local god of water known as Shak. It has always been dangerous for humans to get involved in battles between deities. All right, but this one appears to be all about present day humanity, combining cancel culture, social media norms, all right, lawsuits, and the one truly fearsome, overpowering force in today's world: Instagram selfie fueled tourism. Poseidon is a Greek god who is alien to our Mayan culture, according to the legal complaint filed recently against the statue. I have a human right for my Mayan culture to be preserved. So, in other words, he is making a justification to burn down every Catholic church in Mexico. That's exactly what he's saying, folks. I want you to understand that. That's the kind of stupidity that these people don't they what they're involved in. More lunacy. Man turns himself in after masturbating on a horrified Dollar Tree worker. Gary Miles was charged with indecent assault after a video posted on social media showed the employee yelling at the man had ejaculated on her leg. A Philadelphia man has been charged with indecently assaulting a staff member at a Dollar Tree store in the city's south after a video of the aftermath of the alleged incident went viral. Gary Miles, 35, turned himself into police Wednesday. Authorities said he indecently assaulted a female employee inside the Dollar Tree store on June 23rd. It comes after a video posted on social media showed the store employee crying and yelling that a man had ejaculated on her leg while the man can be seen running out of the store and into the parking lot. The video had been viewed by more than 37 million people. All right, I mean, uh, this is. He has been charged with indecent assault, indecent exposure, open lewdness, and harassment. The Philadelphia PD extends its gratitude to the public for its assistance in locating Miles, the Philadelphia Police Department said in a statement. This guy is a lunatic, okay? No more. Oh, goodness me. Okay, final story of the day, folks. Are we ready? Dolphin beluga whale born amid SeaWorld San Antonio baby boom. SeaWorld San Antonio continued its summer baby boom when a Pacific white-sided dolphin and a beluga whale were born just 2 days apart. Okay, I was kind of wondering if there was some kind of crossbreeding going on by the way they put it there. The Texas attraction said Pequot, a 36-year-old white-sided dolphin, gave birth on June 26 to a 20-inch long female calf weighing approximately 20 pounds. Luna, a 24-year-old beluga whale, gave birth just 2 days later to a 4-foot-long male calf weighing 130 pounds. Both calves and mothers are healthy and under the watchful eyes of animal care specialists and park veterinary staff as the new additions continue to nurse, bond with mom, and work towards hitting normal growth milestones, the SeaWorld said in a birth announcement. The births are the latest in SeaWorld San Antonio's summer baby boom, which saw the arrival of a spotted harbor seal, a California sea lion, and an endangered radiated tortoise. I guess that when the tortoise is radiated, it would be endangered. Hi, Vash. Unfortunately, you got here kind of late because that was the final story of the day. That was the final story, folks. I appreciate you all coming out. Thanks for listening. Hope you all have a good day, and I will talk to you all later. Bye bye, everybody.